What's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy Outlaw V2 coming at you for a long-awaited banger. I apologize for not doing as many videos as I usually do, man. I've been dealing with some health issues as related to gear and blood pressure and just a whole lot of things. I just recently switched jobs. I'm going to start a new job tomorrow. So I've just been having a lot of life going on, but I wanted to make sure I did another banger for you guys about something that a lot of times it comes up, a question comes up about my Air Force career. So don't forget to subscribe, man, if you like my videos. Hit your little warning notification bell so that you get notified when I do new videos, which again hasn't been that often, but you know, I'm starting to up my activity on my channel. So for any of you guys who don't know, I spent 20 years in the United States Air Force. I had a great time. I had an amazing career. You can see my little trophies back here and my little flag I got when I retired. The Air Force has been amazing to me. I came in when I was 17. I spent 20 years doing that in two different jobs. So I'll just basically kind of like go back. My Air Force Loadmaster videos always go super hard. But I'll just let you know that a common topic that comes up for anybody that's going into aircrew is, what is Air Force SERE school like? Survival school, for anyone that doesn't know. It's SERE, is Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. It's usually a school that all the services have it. Air Force, Army, Marines, and the Navy has it. It always comes up. They each run their separate SERE schools independently for whatever service you're in. And it's a common question that comes up. People be asking me, what was SERE school like? What was SERE school like? How was SERE? Because it's typically the thing that scares most people about coming in. So I'll just basically describe, like I said, I came in when I was 17. I came in as a maintenance data systems guy, and I was doing computer work. So I didn't have to go to SERE school. So after I spent my first 9 years in, 9/11 happened. And once 9/11 happened, they were allowing a lot of career fields were allowing people out to go into more needed career fields. If you check out my Air Force Loadmaster video, I kind of describe what happened when that whole situation went down. But because of 9/11, I was able to get out of my computer analyst position and go to be a C5 Loadmaster. So I knew I was going to go to SERE school. I had friends that had gone to SERE school. When you go there, the stuff that happens there is generally, it's pretty much top secret. They make you sign a non-disclosure agreement. So I won't really be discussing exactly exactly what goes on in SERE school, because I want people to experience it for themselves. But what I can tell you about SERE school is just the stuff that I'm just going to base this video on. So Air Force SERE school is held at Fairchild Air Force Base near Spokane, Washington. I think that's in like eastern Washington. It's in the mountains. So essentially, when you get there, it really depends on how they slot out your training. Most people will go to SERE school after they go to the enlisted aircrew undergraduate course, which is in San Antonio, Texas. That's how mine went. I went to EAUC for 6 weeks in San Antonio. Then I went back home for a little while. And then in late March, I had to go to Air Force SERE school. And I was also going to do water survival in Spokane. They do water survival at two different places. They do it in Spokane and then somewhere in Florida. I did mine both in Spokane. So I was there for the whole time. As soon as my SERE school was done, I went right into water survival. I believe water survival is like a 2-day course. It's not very long. The Spokane, Washington water survival, they have a big pool. I'm not really discussing what goes on in water survival because, again, it's a 2-day course. You're going to learn how to ditch an airplane and what to expect when you're getting in like a 25-man life raft. It's very realistic. The training is great. But what I'm going to be talking about in this specific video is just going to be Air Force land survival. So again, it's in Spokane, Washington. If you go in the wintertime versus the summertime, the training is going to be very different. I happened to go in March. It was still cold. There was snow on the ground up in the mountains, but there wasn't enough snow to have to issue us snowshoes. If you go in December or January, you're going to be issued snowshoes, and it's probably going to be more painful because navigating in heavy snow conditions and really cold conditions is all bad. And in Washington, it's pretty freaking cold. So I went in late March. There was snow on the ground. It was cold, but there wasn't enough snow to require snowshoes. So basically, when you get there, you will show up to the Air Force SERE School Training Center, which is kind of like this is kind of a funny topic. But I guess if you look at the Air Force SERE School from above, like if you go on Google Maps or you look at the facility, the buildings kind of look like Nazi swastikas. Like it's like the buildings are in a fucking swastika pattern if you look at it from above. So that's just a little trivia question. It's kind of wild, but so when you first get there, man, the people that you're going to be in your class is made up of all different kind of air crew, man. There's combat controllers, there's pilots, there's engineers, there's load masters, there's gunners. Anybody who is what's called HRC personnel is going to have to go to SERE school. HRC stands for high risk of capture, which means if you're doing a job that has a high likelihood of you flying over enemy territory and getting shot down, then class level 3 survival training is what's required, and that's what the SERE school academics is about. It's level 3 survival school. So when you first go there, usually you'll start on a Monday, and I believe the first week that we were there was all classroom training. It's basically death by PowerPoint. Your entire flight of people that you're training with, which I believe in my group was probably about 60, maybe 60 to 70 people as part of the flight, and you're all going to go through it at the same time. You won't all be together the whole time. They're going to break you into smaller flights once you actually go into the survival school portion of it. But when it first starts, you're there with about 60 or 70 other people that are in your flight, in your training flight. So you'll check into the hotel. You're staying right in that main facility. Your room is pretty much like right near where the classroom stuff is done. In Spokane, it's at Fairchild Air Force Base again. So you go through 5 days of death by PowerPoint that covers a whole myriad of topics, mostly about survival, most about living and surviving in the cold environment versus the hot environment. I imagine they changed the training if you're going to be there in summertime versus wintertime, but our stuff was mostly wintertime based. They also deal a little bit with like surviving in desert environments. They touch a little bit. They also talk about stuff that when you crash an airplane, you're basically your minimum essential equipment that you're going to have as part of the life rafts. If you deploy life rafts or if you crash, like what you can use when you survive. Like parachutes can be turned into tents. You can make like wind breaks, as like you could tie up parachutes in between two trees and make yourself like a little tent. Because one of the main things about survival that they brief to you and that they always tell you is that finding shelter is like going to be your first priority. Food is not as much of a priority because you can survive like a pretty good amount of time without food. But finding water is a big deal. You'll talk about water purification, what water you can drink and what water you can't drink and what water you can drink, how to purify water. They use water purification tablets, but water is a big deal. They're always going to want you to drink water and find sources of water. So you go through this 5-day course. It's all classroom, and then once that's done, the Saturday following that class, you will basically get your survival school like buildup of equipment. You'll go to the training facility, and it's basically like an assembly line kind of deal where you're just sidestepping and you're just building your pack. They're going to give you a backpack at the end of all of it. I think the backpack weighs like 65 or 70 pounds of stuff. You have like a sleeping mat in there. You have a sleeping bag. You're going to get issued MREs, which are made ready to eats, which are loaded with calories. They pretty much, there's only a couple that like really, I wouldn't say any of them taste good, but some of them are more palatable than others. And I believe they give you like 2 or 3. You're going to have like petroleum jelly. You're going to have like a fire starter kit. You're going to have water purification tablets. They just run you through the whole gamut of stuff you're going to need once you finally leave. So I believe that was all Saturday. So Monday through Friday is classroom training. Saturday is your equipment build out. And then Sunday, I believe it was either Sunday or Monday. I don't think he gave us a day off. This training pretty much goes like 2 weeks straight. You get no days off. You're pretty much going for like 14 days straight on. So what happens is you get your little pack built up, and then the next day everybody's ready. You got packs on your back. You got boonie hats. You're wearing Air Force BDUs. They have a good shop in Spokane, Washington, where you could buy other stuff. I highly recommend, if you're there in the wintertime, you go to their little survival shop. It's like basically like clothing sales that every base has, but their clothing sales there is specifically geared towards buying stuff for survival. You can buy thermal underwear, you can buy leggings, you can buy pretty much anything that you can imagine you need to survive. And you can bring whatever you want. Like, realistically, if you're going to carry it, you can buy it and bring it. I highly suggest you either bring some stuff with you, or you buy some stuff at that survival store and bring it on with you. But again, anything you buy, you have to carry. So you get your MREs. You can bring beef jerky, whatever extra stuff you want to bring. Again, if you can carry it, you can bring it. They give you, I believe you have like a couple of canteens of water when you first start. And then basically once everybody's geared up and everybody's ready to go, they pile you onto a bus and you drive out to the mountains. Now, when you drive out to the mountains, you're going to have a survival school instructor with you. And they break you into little flights of about, I think there's maybe five, or maybe in between 5 to 7 people that will be with one survival school SERE instructor. The SERE instructor has been through SERE school himself, and he's also gone to like all the survival school instructors go through, like Arctic training, desert training, jungle training, beach training. Like anywhere in the world these dudes can survive. Becoming a SERE school instructor is crazy. Dudes that become Air Force SERE school instructors are the top-notch survivalists, man. These dudes can survive anywhere. So your 5 to 7 guys will be broken into a flight, and that'll be your dude, man. Like that's your lifeline the entire time you are there. Because what happens is when that bus drops you off, you basically you debus, and your survival school instructor takes you to your little spot on the mountain. They all have their like little zones and stuff like that. Like there's a map. I'm sure all the other instructors know where all the other classes and flights are. But pretty much you will never see the other flights when you're in survival school. Maybe save for like the last day when you're navigating. You might see people here and there, but it's a big ass mountain. Like you have plenty of freaking room to go wherever the hell you want. So the first part of survival school, man, is when the whole stipulation of SERE school is that you crash behind enemy lines. And sorry, this is screensaver. So you crash behind enemy lines and you are in enemy territory and you're surviving. So when you navigate, you're not navigating like if you're in enemy territory, like if you're just surviving out in the wilderness, like you get stuck somewhere and you're in America, then you're not really worried about where you navigate, right? But when you are when you're in enemy territory, like you're gonna stay away from highways. You're gonna stay away from like heavily trafficked areas. You're going to stay away from. You're not gonna walk across the top of mountains where people have visual lines to see you. Like that stuff you see where people are navigating and they're walking across the top of a ridge line. That's the dumbest thing you can do, because if the enemies have a fucking chopper in the air or spotters on the ground, or even worse, like dogs chasing you, you're not going to use those. You're going to stay away from rail yards. You're going to stay away from bus stations. You have to stay in the fucking woods at all times. You're not lighting fires at night, because if you light a fire at night, then the enemies will see you and they'll just come pick you up. So everything you do is like survival. Okay, that's survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. So the first 2 words, survival, you're gonna survive out there in the wilderness without lighting fires. You are going to be freezing. The one thing I remember about SERE school is how freaking cold I was at all times during SERE school. Sleeping was brutal, man. You're sleeping on the ground. You're building up, breaking down branches. It's like some real, like anything you see on TV, like survival shit. You put down some trees and you break down branches and you build like a bow, like all the branches and leaves. You make a bed for yourself because you don't want to be sleeping on the ground. Because if you sleep on the ground, the cold from the ground goes right through your body and you will not sleep. Those sleeping bags aren't really warm. I mean, you can get as warm as you want in them. And this is another thing about sleeping in a sleeping bag. Just so any of y'all know, when you sleep in a sleeping bag, you're supposed to, if they're a good designed sleeping bag, which I had a pretty good sleeping bag as I remember, you're supposed to get like straight up naked. You're supposed to take all your clothes off and get in there because the heat from your body is what warms the interior of the bag. So that's just a little note from survival school. But yeah, you elevate yourself. They give you a rabbit when you're there. It's actually a live rabbit, and then at some point, someone has to decide. Someone has to be picked or selected for killing the rabbit. In my flight, I was the one. I wanted to kill the rabbit. I was just like, give me that rabbit. I was hungry. We were gonna. I think that was the only day we built a fire. Like during the day, we were allowed to build a little fire, and we took out our little pots and shit like that. I had it like we hung the rabbit up by its feet and fucking bow hit him in the back of his head to kill him. And then they show you how to skin him. Your SERE instructor shows you how to skin him and shit. You do daytime navigation and you do nighttime navigation, and basically every day you're like moving from point to point to point to point. Navigations were horrible because again, walking 2 clicks. If you're walking straight like down a fucking highway, walking 2 clicks doesn't seem like it's too big of a deal. But when you're in the mountains and you're in almost like impassable territory, walking 2 clicks will take you a long ass time. So you're basically going from hole up zone to hole up zone to hole up zone over like a 3 or 4 day period. By day 2, you're pretty much run out of food. Your MREs are gone. I think I ran out of food by like day 2 and I was just starving. You're carrying a 75-pound pack on your back. They say and they tell you in SERE school that you're going to burn about 10,000 calories a day. You're at altitude. So another tip I have for getting through SERE school is be in good shape. If you're not in good shape and you're fat and you can't if you're fat, you shouldn't even be going to SERE school. But if you are and you're slightly heavy and you're worried like it's been years since you went to basic training, you should think about training a little bit before you go there. Like run, carry some shit on your back, just get in good shape because it does test you. It tests you physically just being in SERE school. So by day 2, I pretty much ran out of food. So for the next 2 or 3 days that we were in SERE school, I was just pretty much eating nothing. I was making sure I drank water. One thing about me is that they give you iodine tablets to purify water. You will be they'll teach you about what water you can drink. Like you try to look for moving. You can't drink water from any standing water because that shit gets gross. It builds all kinds of bacteria in it. You want moving water, like a running river, a fucking babbling brook, or whatever. You got to get water from there. And then you put iodine tablets in it to purify it. Now, for me, when I put iodine tablets in my water, iodine gives some people heartburn. And it gave me just the most wicked heartburn I've ever had in my life. I was like drinking fire, but I knew I had to drink because if you get dehydrated, your shit is going to be... You're going to get kicked. If you get dehydrated, you're going to pass out. Your survival school instructor is there to make sure that doesn't happen. Also, when you're surviving and as part of evasion, the survival and evasion phases is what happens first. You're also going to vector in a helicopter. You learn about how to read maps, how to read topographical maps which show altitude, so you can open up a map and triangulate your position basically manually, so you know how to call in a helicopter. You use Air Force survival radios that are kept in all the survival kit that comes in an airplane that would crash has a radio. So you learn how to turn the radio on, when you can turn it on, when you can turn it off, what you should be saying on the radio, what you should not say on the radio. So you're going to learn about that. Then on the final day of the survival portion, you vector in a helicopter. The helicopter actually comes in and lands. They talk about what it's going to be like to get roped out, and how to attach yourself and how to get yourself in the harness so that they don't try to helicopter you out of there and you do something fucked up and you fall off the rope and kill yourself. You actually get friendly forces to rescue you and your dumb ass falls out of the helicopter by doing something dumb. So then that was pretty much the 3rd or 4th day of the survival portion. And then essentially what happens is once that survival portion is pretty much done, you have your last day, your last land navigation day, and it's a pretty good. You're going to basically all go to a meetup point. Now, when you do your last navigation, like 2.5 clicks or 3 clicks, you plot it out on your map. Your survival school instructor checks all your math and your triangulation, and you make sure you're going to the right spot. And then you move out. So by this time, we had broken down into pairs, so it was just you and your boy, because you're moving and you're trying to evade. And then this is when they kind of add the enemy forces are looking for you. And I remember a time where I was in the woods and we were hiding. Me and my boy were hiding, and we had a pretty good hiding spot. We built some fucking trees around us, and we were just huddled down, and we're looking around, and sure enough, we could see like enemy dudes wearing completely different fatigues. They're wearing like black and white urban like Russian fatigues, and they're speaking in Russian accents. So they ain't American, and if they catch you, usually they'll like put a training time out, and they'll tell you, hey, this is what you did wrong. Like, bro, this hiding spot sucks. And they'll kind of like, maybe rough you up or some shit like that. But then you essentially navigate to this final point, and then this is the first time you see all your homeboys. Like your entire class of like 60 or 70 people all navigates to the same point. And at that point, you're fucking chest bumping and you're going, yeah, right, bro, we made it, bro. Yeah. People are, putting, like, they got a big bonfire. People are putting their fucking feet up on the bonfire and, getting warm. They do a hand and foot check to make sure no one's got waterlogged hands or no one's got frostbite in their feet. So they make you take your boots and your socks off. They do a hand and foot check. And then at that point, y'all get rolled the fuck up. That is when the enemies just descend upon you. And that is when the resistance phase happens at SERE School. And I'm not going to say a lot. Again, I signed a non-disclosure agreement. I'm not going to say a lot about what occurs there. There's been numerous videos on YouTube that talks about everyone signs a non-disclosure agreement, so I don't know why these dudes are like saying what they say about resistance training. Again, I won't go into details, but you get rolled up, and it's pretty much the most realistic training that the military offers. You will basically go through a point. Again, you're starving. I lost 17 pounds in 4 days from just navigating and moving and running on body fat. So I lost 17 pounds, and I think I don't know what I was when I first went there. I was maybe like 185, and I remember I was like 168 when we got back to when we finally got back to camp. But you burn a lot of calories, man. You lose a lot of weight. So you get rolled up, and when you get rolled up, you do a whole lot of field interrogations, man. You got a lot of people yelling, a lot of people fucking getting smacked, people, and everybody catches it, man. Females, for any females that watch my channel that want to go to SERE School, just expect that y'all are gonna fucking catch it, because there is just, man, men want to protect women. And if you think the enemy forces don't know that, I mean, they're providing realistic training. So if you go down in a real airplane and you have a female pilot and there's like 10 dudes that are part of her air crew, know that she's going to probably get it the worst, and they're going to do it in front of the men, because the more they beat up the female, they want people to step up and say, like, hey, stop that. And then they're going to grab your ass, and your ass is going to be right where she is. So, man, you need to learn to just shut the fuck up and just be part of the training, man. Immerse yourself, because trust me, if you don't immerse yourself, you will be immersed. So resistance training, that starts, and it's as you expect, man. You get the worst treatment right off jump, and then they're gonna move you to some facility. You take a bus ride. Everyone's got hoods on their fucking head, so they could drive your bus off a cliff and you wouldn't even know it. But you're gonna go to a prison, and you're gonna be interrogated. There's gonna be some level of torture involved, whether that's waterboarding or extreme temperatures. Like I said, it's cold out there, so they'll just like have you take all your clothes off down to your boxers and go stand in like 5-degree weather for like 2 hours or whatever it is. They're smart, man. They know what they can and can't do to you. If they throw you in a snowbank butt ass naked, they have charts in their little torture books that says, yeah, he weighs what, 185? He can lay in a snowbank butt naked for 14 minutes before he suffers any permanent damage. So they'll pull you out of that snowbank at 13 minutes and fucking 42 seconds. So the resistance training instructors are amazing. They do their job amazing. It is the most realistic training you will ever go through. Now, you go to your little facility and you're gonna do resistance training. You're gonna be there in your little facility for about 30 hours with no real resistance training experience. So you do that, and then they pull you out and they actually drive you back to like your little survival hotel, and the next day you go to another classroom all day, classroom, and they discuss the resistance portion of it, like what you did wrong during interrogations, what you should have done. You go in there with no training, so it's asses and elbows. You don't know what the fuck to do. And then once you go through this day of training, you learn ways to like avoid interrogations and a way to like not give up information. And then your ass goes, you get on the bus and you hood up and you go right on back to fucking resistance training for another round of beatings. It's just, man, it's just a wild, it's just wild. I mean, I can't say enough about SERE school. And at the end of SERE school, when I got done and I graduated, at the end, I won't say nothing about like how resistance training ends, but it truly made me feel proud to be an American. It made me feel proud as an aircrew member that I got through it. When they gave me my certificate, probably other than getting my wings for being a loadmaster, it was the single best training that I had experienced my entire Air Force career. And I had been in already like 9 or 10 years. So I did another job before this. So I was like going in with some military experience. And man, there was nothing that they were going to do to me in that survival school that was going to make me quit or was going to make me tap because I wanted to be a loadmaster. They could have chopped my dick off and I would have just been like, I'll be a dickless loadmaster. But again, for anyone looking to go to SERE school, what you get out of it will be the most realistic training that you probably ever get in your Air Force career. So that's really all I got, man. Just again, a couple of tips. You're gonna lose weight. Try to be in shape. Square your head away, man. Just like don't panic. Just don't fucking panic and like keep your eye on the prize, man. If you want to be a loadmaster, you want to be aircrew, this is something that everybody has to go through. If you tap, you're out. And trust me, I saw people tap. I saw people crying. I saw people breaking down. I saw females. I saw a female pilot that was like begging to not have to go back out and in the little square and shit and what they were doing to her. So it's just a wild environment. But again, man, if you just keep your eyes on the prize and you stay focused and you have your shit together, you'll make it through, man. So that's all I got on Air Force SERE school, man. So if any of y'all want to comment or whatever and, tell me what you think or ask questions about SERE school, man, feel free. All right, man. Outlaw V2 signing out.